You know that feeling, right? That constant pressure that just seems to build and build. Well, I'm talking about stress. And in this explainer, we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to build a real practical toolkit filled with strategies that actually work, all based on science. So let's dive in.
Some days, it really can feel like you're being buried alive, can it? The pressure from work, maybe some tension at home, that to-do list that just never, ever ends. It's this weight that we all seem to carry, and it's so easy to feel completely stuck under it all. But trust me, you are not alone in this.
So, what is actually happening inside our bodies when we feel this way? Well, it's basically an ancient survival mechanism. Your brain spots a threat, and it doesn't care if it's a saber-toothed tiger or just another stressful email, and it floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It's your body's go time, getting you ready to either fight, run, or freeze. The problem? Our modern world has that switch flipped to on almost all the time.
I love this quote because it just nails the long-term effect. Think about it. At first, you might not even notice the weight of that backpack, but with every new worry, every new responsibility, another little brick gets added. And if we don't learn how to intentionally unpack it, that load starts to wear us down, physically and mentally.
Okay, so let's start by getting familiar with how stress actually shows up in our bodies. Because recognizing these signals, that's really the first step toward taking back control.
Do any of these sound familiar? You know, those tense shoulders that are always up by your ears, those nagging headaches, a heart that feels like it's racing for no good reason? Or maybe you're finding it really hard to focus, or you're just snappy and more irritable than usual. These are all super common warnings that your stress backpack is getting way too full.
And here's the crucial part. Our ancestors, they would have physically fought or fled. They'd burn off all those stress hormones. But us? Our stress comes from sitting in traffic or dealing with a passive-aggressive comment. That adrenaline and cortisol has absolutely nowhere to go. It just hangs around in our system, causing all that chronic tension and, honestly, a whole cascade of health issues down the line.
So the big question is, how do we get rid of them? This brings us to our very first set of tools, immediate, body-first techniques that are designed to calm your nervous system right in the moment you need it most.
Now, this is so fascinating. There is a purely mechanical relationship between your breathing and your heart rate. It is incredibly direct. When you inhale, it actually sends a signal to your brain to speed up your heart. And when you exhale, especially when you exhale slowly, it sends a signal to slow it down. This isn't just psychology, it's pure physiology. And it's a lever we can pull anytime we want.
So here's how you use that lever. This is called the physiological sigh. It's a technique that's so effective, even elite military use it to stay calm under intense pressure. Let's just try it together right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then sneak in another short inhale right at the top. Now, a long, slow, controlled exhale through your mouth. Seriously, do that just once or twice, and you can feel an immediate shift in your body. And remember those stress hormones just hanging around with nowhere to go? Movement is how we burn them off. And you don't need an hour-long workout. Just standing up and shaking out your arms and legs can feel surprisingly good. Even a quick walk, a stretch at your desk, or just rolling your shoulders can help release all that pent-up physical tension.
All right, now that our bodies are a little calmer, it's time to tackle the mind. This section is all about cognitive strategies, ways to reframe your thinking and really take back that sense of control.
Stress often feels so much worse when life feels like it's out of our hands. But as Dr. O'Donovan points out here, taking any action, no matter how small, is incredibly empowering. Just making a decision you've been putting off or creating a simple plan can dramatically reduce your anxiety, even if the problem isn't totally solved yet.
This applies so directly to our workload. On one side, we have to get better at prioritizing. You got to ask yourself, what tasks are actually going to move the needle? Making that to-do list and focusing on those is key. But, and this is just as important, there's the other side, learning to let go. You literally can't do everything. Setting boundaries and learning to say no isn't selfish. It's just smart self-preservation.
Let's be real, some situations are just not fixable by us, and trying to control the uncontrollable is a huge, draining source of stress. Acceptance doesn't mean you're giving up. It just means you're redirecting your precious energy away from a brick wall and toward the things you can actually influence.
We can also actively train our brains to shift focus. It might sound a little cheesy, but simple habits like jotting down 3 things you're grateful for can literally start to rewire your brain to notice the good. Getting all those swirling worries out of your head and onto a page makes them seem way less scary. And please, do not underestimate the power of a good, hard laugh. It's a legitimate biological stress buster. Okay, let's zoom out and talk about the big picture. These next things are the foundational habits. They're what build long-term resilience, making you less vulnerable to stress in the first place. Think of it as preventative care.
So we talked about quick movements, but for long-term management, consistency is everything. The CDC recommends 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. Now that might sound like a lot, but it's just about 20-30 minutes a day. Think of it as regularly cleaning out those stress hormones and giving your mood a natural boost. The real trick is finding an activity you actually enjoy so it doesn't feel like a chore.
And what you eat, it directly fuels your stress response. A diet heavy in ultra-processed junk and sugar literally feeds stress and inflammation in your body. But a diet rich in whole foods, packed with amazing nutrients like magnesium and B vitamins, builds a body that's just more resilient to stress from the inside out. And finally, we are not meant to do this alone. A strong social support system is absolutely vital. You know, cuddling a pet releases oxytocin, the love hormone. Even just 10 minutes in a park or some green space can boost your well-being. And maybe most importantly, prioritize your sleep. A rested mind is a resilient mind. It's as simple as that.
So we've covered a lot of ground, from breathing exercises to diet. Now let's put it all together into a personal stress management toolkit that you can actually use every single day.
If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this right here. You can't eliminate stress completely. And honestly, you wouldn't want to. A little bit of it helps us perform and grow. But you absolutely do not have to let it run your life. You can take the driver's seat.
So here it is, your toolkit broken down into 3 simple categories. For that in-the-moment relief, use your body, the physiologic sigh, a quick shakeout. To manage the mental chaos, use your mind. Prioritize, set boundaries, reframe your thinking. And to build that lasting strength, focus on your lifestyle, good food, regular movement, deep sleep, and real human connection.
So what's next? Well, knowledge is great, but it's action that really creates change. Looking at this whole toolkit, what is one small, totally manageable thing you can do today to start lightening that backpack? Just one thing. What's it going to be?